to extend our warmest welcome to His Excellency Bishop Wang to be with us tonight.
Tonight we are very honored to be able to invite His Excellency Bishop Wang to be with us and to speak to us. Bishop Wang is the 5th child of 8 siblings. He comes from the Manchu ethnic background, but he was raised up in the midst of the wartime nationalist China. So he had to leave home, which was Beijing was his home at that time, at age 15, and came to Hong Kong to study in the South China Seminary in Aberdeen, which is the predecessor of Holy Spirit Seminary. After ordination, he was sent to Rome to finish his doctorate degree in canon law. On graduation, he was recruited to serve in Grenada, West Indies. For 12 years he stayed there, and then ended up in San Francisco in the United States when his sister and brother-in-law both died, leaving him to be the father, the mother, and the foster carer for all the 4 orphans, nieces and nephews. So in San Francisco, he made the record of being the first Chinese parish priest in the Bay Area, San Francisco Bay Area. And also later, he is the first North American Asian bishop. He also contributed his time in the diocesan judicial court in San Francisco. I also found out that he has been the exorcist in San Francisco or in California. San Francisco. So this is the new task that I found out tonight. Of course, we are also thankful that Bishop gave us a few books that those who want can have it. English and Chinese we have a few. So I give the time to.
點解今晚我想講英文咧？因為如果講中文咧，需要我好多時間去準備。口音唔啱啊，都唔緊要，因為我認為咧口音唔係咁緊要，聽得明就得啦。We talk about the accent. We had now he's a priest, he was a seminarian, went to Barcelona for the World Youth celebrations. He's from El Salvador, and I encouraged him. I said, don't come back right away. You spend some time in Spain before you came back. After he came back, I asked him. I said, "Did you enjoy it?" He said, "Yeah, very much." I said, "No problem with language, right?" Because El Salvador speaks Spanish. You know what he says? Yes, I understand everything. They understand me, although they have a funny accent. I said, "Oh, who has funny accent?" He's from El Salvador, now he's in Spain. He thinks they had a funny accent. Of course, I didn't say anything. I said, "Okay, fine." He's now a priest, and he, anyhow, that's just beside the topic. many things we can talk about since the Serrans are interested in vocation. Let's talk about vocations. I first time put down, actually, I'm just not familiar with computer. I often write down and lose it, and then I can get it back. Vocation. I said vocation and the Holy Eucharist. It's very important. Two things connect together. I just presume most of us were baptized as a baby, right? Maybe some converts, I don't know. But main thing is, we recall the time of our first communion. That's the time we really lacked the Eucharist. I can tell you, again, story about myself. I made my first Holy Communion one day later than the class. Because that day I just felt I can't receive communion. I said, I'm not ready, I'm not going to go. I just remained in my pew. The old went up and then back and all that, I just stay there. My grandmother, a few pews behind me, saw that. She says, but when he came back, she says, why didn't you receive Holy Communion? I said, I'm not ready. She says, the priest says you're ready. You are ready. Tomorrow go with me to the cathedral, we'll receive communion there. So she led me to receive Holy Communion. That's all it is. We thank God for the incarnation. Incarnation is a big word. Children don't understand that word. Sometimes we don't either, because there's very many things involved in incarnation. We know we thank God not only for redemption, but also sending us Jesus Christ, human person. We imagine God in abstract. We don't know how to imagine that. But when we come to Jesus Christ, human person, that's different. A little child, the most impressive thing for me is Christmas time, you saw the crib. There saw the little baby, and this is Jesus Christ. You begin to feel kind of affection towards that. Gradually, these things grow in you. Little child, I said I want to be a priest. Another reason I want to be a priest because in my home there are a couple of Canadian priests. They went to Beijing to learn Mandarin, and they often came home. They often, first of all, they wanted to have some, domestic food to taste, and then practice their Chinese with us. And in my family, well, the rule is that children, we go greet the guest and get out. There are other rooms for you. This is room for visitor. But no, these two priests don't want me to leave. I have to stay there. I said to the parent, oh, never mind, you stay here and they play with me. And I said, they're so joyful, so happy. I said, they're so happy, I want to be a priest myself. I just see the happy life they live. So therefore, nowadays they ask me, what advice do you give young priests? I said, be happy. Be happy does not mean no difficulties. Among difficulties, you still be happy. Face it bravely and honestly. Don't be afraid. Just be happy. Enjoy it. This is what the priesthood. Actually, I think for every vocation, the same thing. Your family life, the same thing. You enjoy your family life. Be happy with your family. Does not mean you have no difficulties. Of course you do. No such a thing as no difficulties, but be happy. So this is how I want to be a priest. But then in those days, after graduating from grammar school, you enter the minor seminary. At that time, I refused. I don't want to go. And my parents, my grandparents, they were disappointed. And they led me to the parish priest. And they insist I want to be a seminarian. I said no. The parish priest, he wrote right away. He wrote my baptismal certificate. He led me, in Beijing, this side where the priest lived, the other side is the minor seminary in between the cathedral. He took me there. when the rector is here, his birth certificate, he's going to be here at the opening school. Of course, I didn't go. I just didn't like it. Absolutely no. And I said, I'd rather be a brother. I was pretty close with Mary's brothers who taught in the school. Somehow, now I began to think, afterwards began to think. There one of my teachers, a brother, and he thought I was going to be a priest anyhow. I said, I want to be a brother. But he began to tell me about Holy Mass. And he asked me to copy the Mass prayers. I never knew that copy it is better than reading it. You have to pay a lot more attention by copying it. Gradually I said, brother, this is really beautiful prayers. Yes, this is what you say every Mass you go to. And, oh, then began to link me with that or that. But still didn't change my mind. I just didn't want it. I thought it good, but no, it was later on. Eventually, we came to Hong Kong. That time we came here when my family began to scatter. The four of us came, not whole family. We all scattered already. I have a brother and two sisters and me. We're here in Hong Kong. And then my brother says, no, I'll go back. I'm not going to stay here. He went back. My two sisters, one went to Taiwan, the other one gradually went to Singapore. I was left alone here in Hong Kong. As a young boy, that period I'm really, really sad. Said be happy, but I couldn't be happy. I didn't know what to do. And that's the time the priest came to me, Dominican priest, remember me very well. He came to me. I heard you want to be a priest, right? I said, oh, well, yes. Why didn't you try it? I said, well, just try it. So sent me to Macau, and then of course I have to catch up with other seminarians. You see, those people who started from first the beginning of the minor seminary, began to learn Latin. I didn't like Latin. And he was the Salvatorians, and the superior assigned a priest to teach me Latin, and I didn't like him. You see, as we know, you want to teach John Latin, you have to know how to teach, you have to know John, you have to know Latin, right? Otherwise, you can't teach John Latin. He didn't know me. Actually, he didn't know Latin very well. And he didn't know how to teach. To memorize those things, those, Mensa, Menseo, so boring. I just didn't want to learn. Then the superior saw that. He's a German priest. He said, come, I'll teach you myself. He was a good teacher, I must say. And right away, I changed my attitude and learned Latin very happily. After a couple of months, I was thrown back into the class with others. Learning classic Latin, I had no problem. This is how, you see, all the way, God is helping me behind my back. I didn't know that. When you think of that all the way along, no matter how you resist, He calls you back. As St. Augustine said the same thing. For 28 years resisted. Eventually he says, no, you're just not happy. He was successful in many things, except happiness. At the same time, of course, his mother, St. Monica, was praying for him. 27 years for the mother. So the mother insisted, persisted. This is something we have to do. And perseverance is very important. We help seminarians sometimes. There's no guarantee that seminary you help will succeed. No guarantee. You have to know that from the beginning. Otherwise, you'll be disappointed. And so that's how, step after step after step. Then I went to Aberdeen. You probably didn't know. You probably did know. I didn't like it. I don't know why. And you probably also know, or you probably don't know that, I don't know. But Garland, he paid very special attention to me. Do you know that? You see, they all know, but I didn't know that. How did I find out later? After 3 or 4 years in the seminary, I went to Father Garland. I said, Father, I'm not sure you have a vocation. He said, okay. He didn't encourage me, he didn't discourage me. Okay, he said, let's see. He led me through the St. Ignatius retreat, 4 weeks, and step by step by step by step. And only after that, I told him, I said, Father, I want to be a priest. And the one who started me with me was Dominican. I said, I want to be Dominican. He said, well, don't think about that first yet. Just study and make sure you be a priest. That's how I became a priest. All the way, I thank the people who helped me. But whether they're helping me, I didn't know that. And this is it, you see. Probably somebody helping you behind, make your lives adhere. So this is how we go on and on and on. But all the time, although no matter what happened, I always loved Holy Eucharist. Always did. And after Mass, with Thanksgiving, all that, I never neglected that because I just felt this is what we have to do. This is how we have to be close to Jesus. And you begin with Jesus step by step. As I said, when I made First Communion, I just imagined Jesus a little baby, my little friend. As you grow, and then you begin to, Jesus begin to grow with you. So this is how we usually have to pay good attention to the Holy Eucharist. And the Serrans, as we know, well, you know a lot more than I do about Serrans. It was about 80 years, that's all. But now international. It began with 2 persons in Seattle, actually. The 2 friends didn't even think about it. They just, usually they go to lunch together, gradually they talk about holy things. As well, we should have vocations. And this is what we like to do. And then they just named Serra as their patron. Serra. He is one established, all the missions in California, step by step by step by step. And this is a good example for us. So they followed that, and then 2 became 4, became 10. And then Serra Club was formed. Only about how many years? You do better than I do. Maybe less than 20 years. They began to accept women members, right? About 20 years, I think. And they're asking me about the United States, how the Serra Club is going. San Francisco has, I think, 4 chapters in the city, and the diocese has about 6, I think, chapters. They're different. And what I like here is, the first time you come here, you start with Mass. When she told me we're going to have Mass, I said, oh, this is something, why don't they do that? Because, again, you said about Rotary Club and the Lions Club. That's a social business lunch. More social than anything else. I'm afraid Serra Club, without Mass, gradually become like that. They just get together and chat about things, and then the end of the meeting, see you next month. Lunch hour, they have to rush, go back to work. Just limited time, hour and a half. They have to just finish things up quick, fast. And when she told me I have half an hour, I said, oh, this is something again different. There, if I talk about half an hour, they're mad at me. We have to go to work, you know. The rush. So we have to take time and pray hard in the Holy Eucharist. And I think I should leave some time for discussion. You may have something to offer yourselves, so go ahead. 講中文又得，英文又得。好啊，冇講拉丁文啊。
我哋都唔識啦。